January 2018. Roger Federer claims his 6th Australian Open title, the US launches and allegedly loses the Zuma satellite, all while a European trade sees France loaning the Bayeux Tapestry to England for the first time in over 950 years. But amidst Grand Slams and rogue craft, North America was about to come back down to earth with a bang. The Boston Major had arrived, the 3rd CSGO major on NA soil, but for the region, underscored a glaring hole in their trophy cabinet. But all that was about to change, as we delve into one of the most unlikely upsets in CSGO history, a moment where everything for the player, team, and scene shifted.
Patiently, as Cloud9 sets the push up. Oh, it's happened! They made it work! Cloud9 are your E-League Major champions!
Welcome to Turning Points. Before we enter the land of Red Sox and baked beans, yes, England, you heard that right, some context. Cloud9 had made a slew of roster changes in 2017, letting go of longtime members Nothing and Shroud, in favour of Tarek and Rush from Optic.
That was definitely a changing of the guard moment. Obviously, Nothing is a legend of Counter-Strike as well from the much older days. So that signaled a big change in direction for Cloud9.
Integrating Tarek and Rush into the team was sort of difficult at the start. Me and Tarek sort of had conflicting playstyles, and I think we both had to compromise to make the team work. And after a few months, I think it got a lot better. And I mean, in the end, I think we started to really enable each other.
Sure enough, these changes yielded them some decent results and had them sitting comfortably at 5th in the HLTV World Rankings by the end of the year. But that didn't exactly place them as favourites coming into the first major of 2018. Unless you've been living under a rock, there was one name on everyone's lips: FaZe Clan.
The juggernauts of the game, put your hands together for FaZe Clan!
Everyone was looking at FaZe to prove they had what it took to lift Valve's most coveted trophy. But meanwhile, Cloud9 were making things look relatively easy in the Challenger stage, making it out with a clean 3-0. But the Legend stage would prove to be an entirely different beast.
Out comes Antares, gets nothing. Down to Paz, picks Rush out the air. Now another one from Paz. What else can he? Oh my goodness, Paz! 4 from him. Absolutely unbelievable there from him. Oh my god, the ace to take the match.
The mentality of the team being down 0-2 was just, taking one match at a time. I don't think anyone was too worried. I feel like for some odd reason, everyone on the team had this weird confidence going into that tournament, and it's something that you don't feel every single tournament, but in that tournament we felt it. I think part of the reason why we went down 0-2, actually, a lot of people don't know this, but I changed all my settings after the first stage. That might have been part of the reason why we went down 0-2.
But against all the odds, and perhaps Autimatic getting used to his new settings, they managed to turn it around. First against Virtus.pro, then Astralis, and finally Vega Squadron.
The thing leading to that confidence was definitely our individual skill. I think everyone was feeling really good individually. We were all feeling very in tune with the game. And that individual ability was going nowhere. Cloud9 made it through to the playoffs, where they'd face the Frenchmen of G2 in the quarters before moving on to SK Gaming in the semis, a team who would turn up the heat even higher, with a core who already had 2 major wins under their belts.
Now the flashbang comes out, but they do rush down Fallen. That's going to be a lot of trouble as Freya gets down as well. Cloud9 answering back twice as hard, taking down Belt. Autimatic with the kill, and just like that, Cloud9 in a 1 versus 4. Taco can't do anything. The pandemonium is 16 rounds, and Cloud9 are in the grand finals of a major tournament. Despite all the doubters, Cloud9 would do it. They'd make it to their first ever major grand final, on home soil at that. But guess who would be waiting to meet them there?
After taking down both G2 and SK, only FaZe is left in the grand final. So can you get revenge for the 2 semifinal losses at Oakland and New York?
Yeah, of course, we'll be there.
FaZe were undoubtedly viewed as one of the favourites in the entire competition. And who could blame anybody for thinking that? All you had to do was look at some of the names on the squad.
In the past, when we've played against FaZe, Nico has had really good games against us, Rain has had really good games against us. They're all capable of having like a really good game. But you know, after we lost to them in the past, I would just watch their demos. I'm sure like my teammates would do the same and just see how we lost and see what they were doing.
FaZe Clan were a team who were kind of notorious for around that time for not winning majors. So I think if you look at the squads, you would say that they had the potential to win a major. The question is, were they actually going to do it?
But for Cloud9, they'd made it this far. One more Goliath was not going to hold them.
Very interesting decision at the very end from Cloud9 to go for Inferno over Cash for FaZe. That's been, since this roster formed, probably their best map, you know, played it a lot of times in big games. So I think they're definitely going to feel comfortable getting what pretty much is the 3 best maps for FaZe.
Mirage would start off the series, which came down to the wire.
In this match. Oh, that's big! And with Stewie gone into Palmer's, Palmer's starting to be very close to detonation. Olafmeister with the off angle, and it seems to be nothing that Cloud9 can do.
Oh boy, that really could have gone either way. If Guardian doesn't jump there, I do wonder if Cloud9 win the round.
But ultimately, it will be left to Autimatic to try and take it to overtime.
On that last round on Mirage against FaZe, I remember I called an A stack, which you know, it was a setup that we've done before, and it was just something I did off field. And they ended up hitting B that round on Tariq. And you know, after we died and I was running up short, I was just thinking like, man, I can't believe they went B. After that, you know, I just tried to win the round, but Olaf had an op on short, and it's really hard to win that angle, so just had to move on to the next map. I remember after map 1, we were walking to our team room or whatever, and I just remember talking to my coach, talking to Stu, saying like, man, this is gonna make a really good story when we come back. And the thing is that I wasn't even saying that like to like hype us up or anything. I was just like, I was really that confident. Like I said, there was something about that tournament where I felt like I had this insane confidence, and also my teammates. Like we just had this sort of environment where, you know, we felt like we could do no wrong.
For FaZe, it was now only their map pick of Overpass that stood between them and lifting the major trophy. But although down one map, that did not faze Cloud9.
Nico played outside B on Overpass, and that was my spot on T side as well. I just watched his demos and literally like copied what he did, but then because I copied what he did, when I was a CT, I knew what to do against him on his T side. And you know, I'm not saying that, you know, like I anti-stratted him or anything like that, but I was just very ready for what he was going to do.
I think it's worth noting that Autimatic is very underrated for his roles in that team. I think because he's not, you know, he's a very dependable and consistent player, but isn't like necessarily as explosive as Stewie is, who, you know, he's kind of out there on his own. And Tariq's got a bit of a flashy play style as well.
That game we were playing very individually, and it just happened to work out in our favor. I knew that I was going to pick up the op short. Scott was also playing insane. He had a few good rounds. And I mean, overall, everyone was just playing really well on that map individually. We were all holding our spots. And if we didn't hold our spots, then we would retake the site. And it was pretty clean CT side from us. The crowd had a lot to do with our performance. Just, you know, everyone cheering for us, wanting to see us succeed was something that was really motivating to us. And, you know, at times where maybe normally we would, you know, get tilted or whatever, we just stayed in the game because we knew that all these people are here to watch us win, so let's give them a win.
At one map apiece, it was do or die time for Cloud9 coming into the final game of the series. And if you thought the first 2 maps delivered, Inferno was about to go the extra mile.
Really heading into the unknown here. You saw it on your screens. They've never met on this map before. It's wide open.
Cloud9 will start as they mean to go on as the aggressors. Boston makes a noise in this bitch!
And on this map, there is one moment that no one will ever forget. A pivotal turning point in Counter-Strike history. From Stewie and his AWP.
Out towards B bomb site. but Autimatic's going towards A. Nothing else is going on. He's got to go back. Stewie's on his own, but look at the time. There's 7 seconds, they've got the bomb. They're trying to build pyramids, but there's no more play. Stewie's won the round. We're going to overtime.
By the time it finished, like for someone with asthma, I had such little oxygen in my lungs. My heart was just going doof, 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 like that, and I had to like stop talking for ages just to catch my breath.
I remember I was in spawn. I didn't think that they had time to run back to B, but then once we realized that they were falling back, there was very low time on the round. I started rotating back, and Stu just holds the whole site by himself. And if you watch the way he played the round, instead of hiding and playing the time, he was willing to take all 3 shots, and there was no doubt in his mind that he would hold the site by himself. And I think that just goes to show how much confidence we had going into that tournament. I just remember Stu and Tarek got up, and I was just like, guys, like put your headsets back on. But it was definitely a hyped moment for sure. But the job wasn't done. We still had to win in overtime. So I think after that initial hype, we just refocused and played the overtime out.
We'd actually run out of water at our stage, and at E-League you have somebody by the stage who's there to help you, so if you need anything. But what I find with security and staff, if they've got a good view of the game, they'll understand what's going on and they'll get really engrossed in it. So the guy who was standing at the bottom of our like a little elevated stage, I was waving at him like this, and he was just kind of moving out of the way to watch the game. He was that distracted by what was going on.
They give themselves another chance, and you have to wonder where are FaZe's heads at after that one.
To be on death's door and then make a comeback over multiple rounds was huge. I think it was just an insane release of energy for the crowd.
On CT side, we didn't really focus on too much. I felt like that their T side was sort of easy to read. But on our T side, we had been playing the whole game and it was really back and forth. And I think we started to figure out what we should have done against them in regulation, and we started to just do that in overtime. That final round was a really crazy one. I think there were 2 people left, and then I ran through the spawn smoke, got the kill, and then I got traded, and then it was 1v2. Guardian was alive with an op, and I just remember previously, Guardian got a 2v1 against us where I was water and Tarek was spawn, and that was a huge misplay by us, and I was just thinking, now he has an op, he's triple, which is like a really good spot for an opper to play. But thankfully he gambled. He gambled that the banana guy would peek first, and I was just watching Ska, and he peeked out and he just got a free kill. And I couldn't believe it after that. Like, I really didn't know how to react, but I was just, filled with happiness.
When Dan was in that passage of commentary, I was giving him the signal to just take it all the way, and I think he absolutely nailed that.
Cloud9 are your E-League Major Champions!
I was just enjoying the moment. Honestly, it's bearing in mind, it's our job and we're commentating, but we're also fans. Both Dan and I both played this game our entire lives, more or less, like 20 years. It's just a great moment to be a part of.
I don't think anything was really said after that victory. We just sort of hugged each other, and I hugged every one of my teammates. I hugged my coach as well, because my coach has been there for me since the start of my career. First as a teammate, now as a coach, and then always as a friend. We had just been through so much with all the losses in semifinals, all the losses in the finals, and to finally win, I think was just it's hard to describe, to be honest. It felt amazing.
Afterwards was amazing as well. Once we were all back in the green room, Sue was in tears. She knew she just witnessed some shit.
At your first major playoffs, you had to take down G2, SK, and today you took down FaZe. Today you have made history. You are the E-League Major Champion.
Thank you. I don't really have much words to say, as you know. I'm not crying, you're crying, stop.
Even that was like an extra, like a bonus moment for us. It was just such a great story. I don't know, it's not a moment I've experienced before, really. It was pretty unique, and it was just great to be a part of that.
It felt so good to finally win the major, just because that's like the goal for every single player, is to win the major. For me personally, I've made a lot of sacrifices to pursue CS, and I'm sure my teammates did as well. So I think, I don't want to speak for everyone else, but for me, you know, it just felt like all the sacrifices I've made, all the nights I stayed in, it paid off in the end. And then to do it with the crowd, you know, all there and all cheering for us, and to do it in front of my dad, that was awesome.
Cloud9 have done the unthinkable. The first North American squad to etch their name into the Major Hall of Fame, and on home soil at that. And thus far, the only squad from the region to lift the trophy. But with North American roster shuffles rife coming into 2022, who knows? Maybe it's time for another underdog to emerge. January 28th for Stewie was his turning point.